Battlestar Galactica Deadlock Resurrection is the first in Deadlock's second season of DLC content, and the fifth expansion released for the game overall. It's available on Steam, and while there hasn't been an official announcement on the price just yet, based on previous DLCs it should run you around $10 to $15 US. And note, you do need the base game to play this expansion. So you know, this review assumes you've either seen my review of the original game, or already know enough about it where you understand its mechanics and systems. As such, I'll just be talking about the new content this DLC adds. So if you'd like to catch up before watching, then check the link in the description for my original video. Lastly, I would like to say that I was provided a review copy of Resurrection by Slitherine for this video. Okay, let's get into it and see if this DLC is worth your time. Battlestar Galactica Deadlock was already a great game when it released, and Resurrection doesn't look to change or alter that base formula that's worked so well for it up until this point. Resurrection includes a brand new 10-mission campaign set after the original game and its DLCs. Like the last expansion, Sin and Sacrifice, the new campaign is completely standalone, meaning you can play it without having to go through the entirety of what's come before, though you probably want to make sure you have to make sure you're up to speed with the story. Speaking of the story, while of course this is a spoiler-free review, I will say that it feels more engaging than the original. While the production value is still a bit lacking in terms of having any cutscenes or unique story delivery, the characters have a lot more personality here, and I actually cared about them, contrary to the base game where everyone felt a little bit unconvincing. Setting itself apart from its predecessors, Resurrection is not set on the large Daedalus space station, but instead on the Battlestar Galactica herself. Well, of course, the fact you're operating on such an excellent ship is super cool, and the CIC is recreated to just what you'd remember from the TV show. The best part about all this means we get a new mission map. It's smaller than before, and it means things are much more streamlined. There's way less going on, there's less planets, less icons, and overall it just feels a lot more focused and less garbled up than the original game did. Through this map, you'll engage in the game's 10 new story missions, as well as 14 resource missions, which act as ways to break up the narrative, gain supplies, and decrease the new Cylon threat indicator up in the top right, which has negative effects if it gets too high, and if it gets to the top, you can't do main missions until it's been lowered. There's also some old mechanics that have been removed, like the quorum, and unlike before, here you start with quite a large pre-existing fleet and mostly completed research tree. This means you get into the action a lot faster, and battles instantly feel more intense because you've got these massive ships ready at the get-go. Unfortunately, that also means there's not a ton of progression, which was one of my favourite parts of the original, and I wish they added some more mid and end game things to work towards, like ships or powerful new upgrades. But all things considered, it's not a huge issue as the DLC is obviously quite a bit shorter than the main game. As a bit of an aside, Resurrection also brings some nice quality of life improvements to the game, like the super helpful multi-select control changes, UI improvements, and some updated effect and projectile systems. Apart from those, gameplay-wise, everything is pretty much the same as it was in the original. There are a couple of new ships which are cool, if somewhat underwhelming. I was hoping for a few more, and the ones we do get feel a little bit lacking. For example, the Colonials get the Jupiter Mark II Battlestar, an upgrade on the already available Mark I. It looks a bit different and its loadout and stats are improved, but it functions pretty much the same. Some more variety in the form of new, unique ships would have been nice. The new fighter squadrons are cool too, but it really does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity. There's nothing added that really plays any differently to before, and having some really unique ships or mechanics added would have given a lot to the experience. And it would have been a good time to do it since this campaign is completely separate from everything else. It would have been a relatively easy way to add some unique elements without affecting the base game. If you like Battlestar Galactica Deadlock and still enjoy its tactical space battles, then you're gonna enjoy Resurrection. It leaves the tried and true formula untouched and adds a new story that in my opinion is better executed and more well produced than the original. The new overworld management is visually unique and does make a few changes that streamline the experience and get you into those battles that you love faster. However, if you've had your fill of Deadlock and were hoping this DLC would change things up to where it felt fresh and distinct from the original, you're probably going to be disappointed. This DLC is very much for those out there who love Deadlock and want more. It won't change your mind if you didn't like it to begin with, and I doubt it would reinvigorate any lost lovers for those who played the original and didn't get their fill. It's a very safe expansion, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. There are no funny surprises, and what you see is what you get. You want more quality Deadlock content? Boom, here it is. But if you're done with Deadlock, then you shouldn't feel bad about skipping this one. Thanks everyone for watching. What did you guys think of Resurrection? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.